Obama in me. The hood won't pop, hip-hop wanna see the common in me. And since it's a senseless contradiction, I end up a misfit trying to fit in. This ends when I stand up and see the hands of the standard. Holy is the Lamb, huh? Now we holding you to man up, cause we were made in this image. Start looking at what you came from. Right after Adam, every atom and anatomies, Adam, McAdam, after what added like is against. Let me take you back to the dream. Eve never read it, you see the Eve was the seed, but Adam was the one who let her eat. Instead of leading, no, we ain't leading, we basically little boys with muscles that I must have. The femininity, we need a remedy to God, man, 100% masculinity.
We the last. Yeah, wait a minute. Seems like they all lost. None of them are on the scene. Seems like they died off. They extinct, but my dream is the rise of we chasing the prize of the king, of the my boss. But we fell away. Now we ungodly. We lose and we really got the blues like Navi. I wanna celebrate the news. It's beside me. Fellas, let's elevate. We do with the live.
They lie. Old heads, head boy, get your shine on. And if a sucker try to block you, get your nine home. And what I heard you gotta do to be a man now. Stand up for yourself. So I took it in my hands now. And that's the problem, man. We busy trying to solve it. All the while we walking dead. Somebody bring the coffin. Boy, drop peach fuzz. Now you think that you a man. Cause you feeling yourself. You need to man up.
Yeah, there's many things man is chasing after. They got some questions. We got some answers. Sex and models and tipping bottles back a pile of excuses right next to your bottle caps. A Rolodex filled with names that you aim to please. Next to the stack of money building up a heart of greed. Ice on his neck, giving jokers the cold shoulder. You drunk off pride, plus you loving the hangover. You got a whole lot of stuff that won't amount to gain. Life will never make sense because you never made sure.
We got it twisted sick like a fever. Little man live stacked dough, keep long. Man up, get up out of that treehouse, leave them cookies alone. It's time to eat meat now. Trying to show you a new way to live now. No charge, you can call it a freestyle. Without Christ, a normal man is your born a man's body like Tom Hanks in bed. Yeah. Being a man got nothing to do with age. You could be a boy to the day you lay in your grave. None of us behave like the image of who we're made. Cause we fall in the way, it's better known as the brave. Running from responsibility, really we crave. The easy way out of places that call us to pull our weight. When they born through everyday decisions are made. Responding to the call, God's giving up from the grave. Yeah. Let the process begin. Separate the boys from the men. It don't matter how you started. Partners supply how you end. Jesus is the model. Follow us, we gon' follow him. We the last of a dying breed. It's time that we man up.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Regina Sunshine, coming to you from what is always a beautiful day for me here in Atlanta, Georgia, with the Living Like a Boss show. Yes. Every first Monday, I am joined here. Normally, it's me plus a whole group of boss men. But the blessings are overflowing in the lives of our men. And as always, this space is a space for elevation and a catalyst for growth. And so opportunities are abounding. That's a beautiful thing. So that's why I've got this ongoing thing that no boss guy's ever gone. We just keep adding boss men so that somebody will be here on the first Monday. But I am right now joined by a brother that I love so much. And you guys should know by now, Pastor Aikeem Woodard. Welcome to the show, brother.
Welcome. Thank you.
It's so good to have you here.
When you push that red Batman button, I seen it in the sky, so I gotta go. She calling me.
Well, you know, I always miss you when you're not here. But like I said before, I think the last time we had a ball show, you were somewhere picking up some checks. or something. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I understand.
Thank you.
That God is blessing you guys, and I love that. I love that. But we do have at least one boss guy on the way. Michael Supreme, our boss ambassador, is on the way, and possibly Pastor Stephen Palmer will be joining us today as well. But we have two amazing guests already live in studio, ready to share their hearts, their purpose, their missions with you. We have Mr. Clifton Hall and Mr. Benjamin Puckett. And I can't wait for you guys to meet them, as well as to join our discussion today, the impact of sports on our community and our men.
Okay. And
I guess an ongoing discussion about how we can use sports in a way that it is a unifier, it's a catalyst for change, also as a tool for discipline in others. We're going to have that full discussion today because it is something that's very prevalent in the lives of our men. So somebody needs to make sure that it is something that is being used. Oh, Ned, I guess I'm holding it for a positive change.
See how quick she is? She's with the sports too. She just caught that microphone.
I'm just going to pass that on down. You just pass it. Yeah, I don't, that works. See, it's off camera. That's good. All right, so before we even, I'm not going to take a break. We're going to go ahead and go straight into the announcements. Normally we go and take a break. But I'll give my announcements, and then I'll allow you to give yours, as well as to share something we were talking about during the break that I know you're very passionate about. For those who don't know, we do have another leg of the Living Like a Boss organization. Is our Boss Builders Academy, and we are now accepting speaking engagements, and we have men and one little girl. I have to say that we got one little girl on the team, and I got to talk about her because I saw her do her TED Talk this weekend, and it was awesome. All right, so but we have the topics: leadership, entrepreneurship, radical economics. That's Larry Hodges. Radical economics, stocks and trading, decision making, relationships, success principles, purpose, and passion. So we have right now, I think, 8 or 9 amazing members on our Boss Builders Academy team, which they have already started having speaking engagements here and there. Mays High School. We had a couple guys go out to one of the local community centers recently, and like I said, our youngest Boss Builder had her second TED Talk. I say second TED Talk.
She's leading the pack.
This weekend. She is leading the pack. Absolutely. That's Zeta Lodala. So definitely, if you're looking for speakers, if you know someone who's having a conference and these topics have piqued your interest at all, reach out to me at reginasunshine.robinson@gmail.com. Also, the new for 2018, we are doing a Boss Week and a Boss Award show. Last year we did the Curvy and Confident Awards for our women, along with our 3rd annual Awesome Girl Awards. And last year we did the Young Boss Awards for the boys, our 3rd annual. And so just like with the girls, we decided to expand from our boys out to our men. So we're having a full-scale award show to honor men in our community that are doing great things. And the focus this year is fatherhood, fathering our own children and fathering our community. It's going to be an amazing event. I already have confirmation from Representative Mike Lanton, that he's going to be in the building with us, as well as some other amazing men. So that date, the full Boss Week is going to be the week of June the 11th. We will have a special edition of the Boss Show that Monday. That Thursday, we will have a workshop event with all of our Boss Builders. We're going to invite a whole bunch of corporate leaders here in Atlanta to come and meet our Boss Builders. And then that Saturday, we'll have the first ever Boss Awards honoring our fathers. So it's the week of Father's Day. It's going to be a great time. I'm excited. I know, I'm excited. It's going to be good. The other thing I want to mention is that our Boss organization has partnered with the Andrew and Walter Young YMCA to assist them in all of their projects and activities this year, but specifically they have a father's class. So they have a fatherhood initiative there, led by a good brother out of Aiken, South Carolina, Christopher Emmanuel, and he partnered with our Boss ambassador, Michael Supreme, to bring that program to the Andrew and Walter Young YMCA. And of course, anytime our men can be of service to the community, we make a point of making those connections. So we have formed that partnership. So anytime they have things going on there, we're hoping that we have boss men in the building to make sure that they're showing our young people, a positive image of who our men are in the community. Awesome. So I know you're ready. Something else that's happening for Instinct Radio is the Black Panther premiere on February the 15th. This is the day before the nationwide premiere. Instinct Radio, as well as I can say Boss. That's a Boss Media. That's something to think about it. Yeah, speaking prophetically over my own life. All right.
Drop it on them. Drop it on them. Download.
As well as Bold Favor Media Group are partnering to bring, like I said, a day before the actual premiere, a panel discussion and movie premiere. And that's going to be February the 15th from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Regal Hollywood Stadium Theaters 24. And it says it's in Chamblee, Georgia. So you can actually go to the Instinct Radio website or page or to Bold Favor Media Group and see how you can come out. It's going to be a great time. You guys have seen our show before. Our good brother and friend Kadar Griffo is one of the members on the panel. He's everything Pan-African, as well as some other what I call comic book nerds like my son. There to talk about the importance of this movie in our community, and especially to those like I said, the comic book nerds who want to make sure they hold true to what the story is supposed to be. My son is so serious about this thing.
Already breaking records. It's already breaking records.
I know, and when I told him we were going to get to see it the day before, I think I won Mother of the Year award. And he was like, don't play with me. Mom, don't play with me. He said, this is serious right here, what you're saying. So we're excited that we're going to get to go there. And so like I said, Bold Favor Media will be on the red carpet, as well as Instinct Radio. And I don't know. I thought I was wearing all black net until I was told this was like a cultural event and I needed to like queen it up, like bright colors and a head wrap and everything. So I'm still trying to figure out what I thought it was Black Panther. We all gonna wear black, right? Nah, that's
you don't want in black.
That's not what's happening. So I've got to rethink the entire wardrobe for this event, but definitely come out and support. And I also want to mention, for those who don't know, I'm the new editor-in-chief of Bold Plus magazine. We dropped our first issue today. Thank you, thank you. And on our cover is Instinct Radio family and great friend, Tamika Georgia Harper, Emmy Award-winning, Tony Award-winning, Peabody Award-winning spoken word artist. She's the queen of spoken word. She's our cover story, as well as we are highlighting all of the women and men that were part of our 2018 Plus-tacular calendar. We're excited. I have to say this is something that when I was asked to do it, I immediately wanted to say no because I felt like I was not qualified and I had no idea how to do this. But then I recognized the real reason I wanted to say no is because I was afraid. And my rule in life is if I'm afraid of something, I have to do it. So the moment I recognized it was fear, I called Anita back and I was like, I got to do it because I'm afraid. And we'll just figure it out along the way. So I'm excited. Go to boldfavormagazine.com, get your digital or print copy. If you've never supported me in anything, I need you to support me in this. This is brand new. This is completely out of my box. And I'm giving it my all to make sure that I make Lanita proud. And I thank her for giving me the opportunity to do something that I never even considered being able to do, okay? And the last thing, and then I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Wood because I have to say this. On Saturday, I was invited by the Musa Lotala, who is one of our boss guys, and his family to come and hear his daughter Zeta do her TED Talk. And the surprise was that the TED Talk was about me. The title, the topic for the kids was Everyday Heroes. And I'm sitting there, and my picture appears on the screen. I'm like, what the?
Hope you got your good side.
I'm like, and I was trying not to cry my lashes off. You know how we do. I was like, okay, I'm in here, a room full of people. But I was so blessed to be there and to receive, at the end of her talk, this medal from Zeta that says, heroes don't need capes. And it has my name on the back, Regina Sunshine. And her father sent me a little portion of her talk. And I just want to read one little bit because I can't read this without crying. Let's see. Overall, Miss Sunshine, because she goes through this whole thing about who she's talking about without saying her name. Okay. And then she gets to the end. She said, overall, Miss Sunshine, oh yeah, that's right. Her name is Miss Regina Sunshine. She has a passion for helping others. I like that Miss Sunshine brings out the best in everyone. She is super nice and makes everyone she meets feel important. I want to make sure she feels just as important as she makes us feel. What inspires me about Miss Sunshine is how her ideals become words and how her words turn into action. She gives young women and girls like me a voice and the confidence to not be afraid and to stand up for what you believe in. She gave me the confidence to speak and say what I believe in. I'm even the only girl on her Boss Builder Academy program, which is a program for people who are actively bettering the community. I want kids of all ages to have a voice in what they want to say, because what everyone wants to say is important. And I'd like to close with Miss Sunshine's personal motto: it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over.
Hey, she can talk too.
So blessed and honored, and such a reminder that you continue to fight. Even when it's hard, and even when it feels like you're not making an impact, and that nobody cares, right?
Yes.
That somebody is watching. So one of the things they challenged us with before we left was they passed out medals, and for us to give our medals to an everyday hero. And so, Aikeem Woodard, because you inspire me, and you give me courage to do what I do, you are my everyday hero. And that's it now. It's yours.
Preach in this.
And now it's yours.
Watch faith, but I'm gonna preach in this system. On this. Thank you, Regina. Because we started this journey a while back.
Yeah.
I'm fresh out the institution, and like you said on this show,
you were sitting on this chair right here, and Dana Butler said that he thought you were going to be a minister. You hadn't even been called to preach or anything.
Nope, hadn't started.
And he prophesied that day, and look where you are now.
Preaching. Yes, it is. And I you dropped the seed in our hearts when you said about the fear, about how fear, keeps you, whatever you fear, you say, I got to do it. Because fear sometimes, I think all of us, it locks us, it imprisons us in our past and don't parole us to our future. And that fear, people don't, it ain't got nothing to do with your faith, because fear eats your faith up like Pac-Man. It's just being afraid to lose, to fall down. And I think I heard a quote, somebody said his son he wasn't afraid, he wasn't concerned about his son winning. He was more concerned about his son failing, because he needed him to fail. Right. Because they said, I want you to win, I need you to fall down sometime. Because if you never fall down, you'll never know how to get back up. And that's the joy of doing some things and you not seeing the reaping the benefit. You're not seeing it because it make you work harder. Because you start seeing everything you do turn to gold, you start getting lazy and start thinking like you start looking like LeBron James looking right now, thinking your boo-boo don't stink, but it stink though. So that's just what I want to drop. The main thing I want to share, I want to talk too much about myself. I know people that are watching the news about what happened to a young man, 12 years old, in DeKalb County, Brookhaven, that was pulled into an apartment by two African-American men and brutally raped. One has been caught with AIDS, and one, Kevin Armstrong, I'm mentioning your name. I hope you see my face, because I'm not one of those pastors just going to hit you with a Bible. I'm going to hit you with something else. We have this man, Kevin Armstrong, was in our streets. We marched the streets concerning when police brutality. We march the streets when something going wrong, or a white person do something to a black person. I know somebody asked me, what color was the kid? I said, I don't care if it was purple. Because people on that mindset don't care what color the kid is. They took advantage of this young man. This guy, Kevin Armstrong, is free. So I just want to make a plea out to all those who's in the streets, the gang members, the pimps, the pushers, whoever you are. It's time. I don't care how you do it. You can put him in a trunk, drive him to the police department, and throw him out in front of it. You can put him on a hood for all like you can tie him to a pole out there on the street. But we need to turn this guy up. Don't turn the heat up on this guy. Make him feel nowhere safe. And if you got him in your house, he should be turned out your house right now. Yes. We need to have this guy by 24 hours. We need to have this guy off the streets. So we worry about people policing us. We can't even police ourselves on serious events. That's serious now. Yes. This is serious. So we can't turn this person out. And they ain't got nothing to do with no snitching. If you think that got something to do with snitching, boy, we in trouble. If you think, I ain't finna snitch on nobody until it happened to your son or until it happened to your little brother, then you want to do something. But there was our little brother. There was our son. So I'm making a plea out to all the people in the streets, because that's where he's hiding at. We need for him to be turned out the streets and put in the jail. I don't care how you do it. But you're going to see me on Facebook all this week saying it to this guy's called, we need to turn this guy out, burn the streets until he come out. That's all I got to say. Real talk.
Well, I think that's a perfect way to go to break. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be back live with the Living Like a Boss show here on Instinct Radio.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine, and they call me the Affirmation Queen. Why am I called the Affirmation Queen? Because I'm a big believer that if you change the way you speak, you'll change the way you think, and you'll change the circumstances in your life. So start today speaking words of life over you and your circumstances, and see if everything doesn't begin to line up with those things that you are speaking. And I want to leave you with these parting thoughts. Remember this: God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life. And take with you my personal motto. I always say it's not over till I win. If I hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over. So I tell you today, it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, baby, that just means it's not over. Be blessed and keep winning.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
All right, you guys, you're back live here with the Living Like a Boss show every first Monday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. I'm joined by my good brother, boss man, Pastor Aikeem Woodard. And we have our first guest of the day, who is not a stranger to Instinct Radio, but it's first time on this show. Welcome, Mr. Clifton Hall.
Thank you very much.
So
Pleasure
good to have you here.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I always like to mention how I met someone, and I saw you on Shay Promises show. That's what I was, when you were walking up there, I was like, he looks familiar. I said, yeah, he was on Shay's show. For anybody who knows, I'm a big fan of Shay's show. She has some really interesting discussions. Now, the show you were on, what was the discussion about?
You know, it's hard for me to remember at my age anything that I did yesterday or a minute ago. But I do believe it was about similar things. Dating as a single father, and I'm a single father of 3 at the time, you know, and so she wanted my expertise. She and I go back a little bit. We worked in corporate America together, and we did some stuff with Toastmasters LLC, and we just forged a relationship that way, and then helped to jumpstart her business, you know, which is why we ended up there. So anything that I can do, it's that Carolina motto, anything we can do to help somebody, we're going to do it. Okay. And that was one of the mantras that I carried. So that's how I ended up there that day.
Awesome. Well, you know, I do enjoy her show because they have real conversations about dating, and not just, you know, surface level stuff, because that's real. Dating Absolutely. As a single parent. Absolutely. What does that look like? How do you involve or not involve your kids? Those Absolutely. Types of things. So tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm working on brevity, so I'll try not to give you guys too much, but give you substance. As you well know, I'm from South Carolina. I'm a native of Anderson, South Carolina, home of the Clemson Tigers, national football champions year before last. Okay, for any Alabama people in here. Yeah, I know. They take it personally down here.
They really do.
But grew up there. I was reared in a Christian home. Like you were saying earlier, someone prophesied over you. That happens. When I was a young man, very small young man growing up in the church, I was pretty active in a lot of things. And so it's funny how that all came to fruition some time back. So I ended up, I don't like to say pastoring or being a preacher. What I'd like to call it more is teaching. And that's an educational way to say this is how we come reason together. if you're just shouting at people and giving instructions, and a lot of times people will tune out to you, and we have to find a way to reach the masses. And that's pretty much who I am. So about me, I try to always help people. I'm always trying to learn, grow, and give back, not only to people that look like you and I, but to anyone that has the same spirit, and even some that don't, because at the end of the day, we all bleed the same blood. And so I do believe in giving back. I do believe in helping others. And when you gave me the opportunity to be here today, I never second guessed it. And so it's all about just trying to get a message across and be positive about what we can be. I'm a proud dad of 3 young men, so we can kind of transition into that piece. My oldest is 23. My middle son is 20. And, well, he's 19, he'll be 20 in 6 days. And then my youngest is 18. And, of course, I know you want to know. So my oldest son is a cornerback for the Chicago Bears. He was drafted 2 years ago in the 4th round. So we're very proud of his achievements and accomplishments. And he's been a starter off and on. Of course, they're transitioning as a franchise from coaches to learning and young people. But ironically enough, he's one of his teammates is a member at my brother's church. My brother pastors a church up in South Carolina, so he's one of his teammates and their family are parishioners at my brother's church in South Carolina. So we're all related in some way or another. Absolutely, not just because the boat stopped in Charleston first. But we won't go there. We'll just come back. But and then my youngest son is an accomplished track star at Texas Tech. He's the number 4 triple jumper in the country. He's all Big 12 as a freshman, and he's back at it again now. He was a future Olympian, made Junior Olympics last year. And so we're very proud of him in only his 3rd year of running track.
Wow.
And then my youngest son is a lacrosse player, and he's getting ready he just got accepted to Emory University last month. So we're excited about that. And the biggest thing that I can say about these men that I love, and I love, is that they are academically sound. All Dean's List, all that fun stuff. They challenge each other. The highest GPA for both my younger boys are 4.2 currently, sustaining. It's always competitive, but I never pushed my kids to play sports or never told them that they had to do what I did or anything that their mom did. I wanted them to, find their own way, and I didn't want them to have the pressure of, having professional success as an athlete. I wanted them to be well-rounded. I want you to listen to music, not just this kind of music, but every genre. I wanted you to be able to go outside and not just sit there and play games all day. And I didn't have to nurture that too much. They're pretty balanced. As young men, I'm not going to paint a perfect picture about anything, but we have our trials, but transparency is paramount. And unlike my parents, I wanted my children to be able to talk with me. My parents talked to me and at me. They still do. And we had to listen because it was a sign of respect, whether we agreed or disagreed. And so in this day and age, as you were saying earlier, Pastor, that we're having things going on around us in our communities, in our churches, in our homes that we need to be aware of, not just incest, not just the incident that you referred to, but communication. It starts with communication. And fear is a monster.
Yes.
And so if it consumes a child, if it consumes an adult, what do you think it's going to do to a child?
Yes.
And we are experienced people to a degree with certain things. And so it's important that we have a dialogue, that our children can feel comfortable coming to us and not their teacher, not just their teacher or their coach or a total stranger that they feel confident in.
Yeah.
We can make all the excuses in the world about why people join gangs or organizations or affiliations of any kind. But at the end of the day, what most children want is a nurturing bond with someone that can understand them, that's going to listen to them and reason. Here's a caveat. It's the same thing we as adults want.
Absolutely.
And so it never changes. We've seen some grown children and we've seen some young adults. So what we really want is to be able to nurture that dialogue, build men, build strong women, regardless of the race, regardless of the creed, regardless of the color. We want good people in a society because God knows the things that are going on now, the proliferation of things that are diminishing the integrity of not only the social and moral fabric of this country. It starts at home. And there's a little passage in the Bible that says you train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they are young, they will return to those ways, or they will remember those things, right? Mm-hmm. We have a responsibility as adults to put forth the things that we expect from them and from each other, and hold each other accountable.
Absolutely.
And so you ask about who I am. This is who I am. This is what I'm striving to be. No, it's not, the perfect way. It may not be the best way for all, but it's my way, and it's the way that I'm understanding, and I'm open to receiving new and better ways and things that are going to improve me, my life, my children, and the way that I impact others.
Well, one thing that I was thinking about earlier, and as you were talking about your sons and the different areas of athletics that they're excelling in, is diversity. So often in our community, our children are pushed in very specific paths.
Absolutely.
How are you as a father able to create this space where they were able to explore their individual gifts and talents?
Transparency, communication. It starts with a question, right? What do you want to do? We ask ourselves that every day when we wake up. We don't realize it because as we get older, and I'm not ashamed to say I'm 51 years old. I earned every piece of this right here, right? But the same expectations that I have of my children, I have to impose on myself. Mm-hmm. And so I think I shared this with you. I graduated high school in 1984, and I started my degree in journalism at Benedict College down in South Carolina. And my parents pretty much, ran out of money my freshman year. So I had to start paying for school, finding a way to actually, continue. I ended up having to drop out after my junior year. I was blessed enough to get a job in my field, which was in television. So I was an on-air personality, sportscaster, and that kind of thing. And I'm coming back to what you were asking initially, but that drive and determination. I had children, got married, all of that fun stuff, right? 30-year span.
Yes.
Degree, always in the back of my mind, but I kept getting these management jobs, these leadership jobs, director, manager, associate manager, assistant manager. Why me? How do I keep doing this? And at time, I'm like, they keep finding, if they read my resume, it's going to say I don't have a degree. But people buy you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They buy your spirit, whether they realize that or not. They buy your spirit. And so it's not something that I was in control of. I always knew. I was never in fear, but there was one that was greater than I that was controlling every single facet of my life. And so when my children were born, I was trying to set an example. I've never had less than 3 jobs until a year ago. Never had less than 3 jobs. That was the way that I knew. I don't want to work all my life. I don't want to do this. But they see this. And so my ex-wife is telling me, I'm watching these accomplishments and these accolades, these kids, and I'm saying, how are they doing this? And classic example, state championships, my oldest boy, high jump, competing in the high jump, and he was all state and everything, all that fun stuff. He comes in second place in the high jump competition in the state, and he comes over to the stands, and he's crying. I'm like, what's wrong? And he sniffs, and he says, I'm sorry. I said, what? Sorry about what? He said, I'm sorry. I was trying to beat your record. And I said, son, you surpassed any record that I ever had a long time ago. and I'm proud of you. And he went on the rest of that day to compete in the other events, and he got first place in all of those, right? This is not to boost my accolades or anything. I ran track and basketball and football and all that crap. So I asked his mother when he walked away, I said, where did that come from? What? She said, he reads all of your. She said, he's wearing your class ring. He's got your high school jacket when you're not around. He reads the yearbook. I said, I hid all of that stuff. I taped it up in a box and put it in the basement. She said, he opened that a long time ago. They are watching. You said it earlier. They are watching. So how? Example. I put pressure on myself to say, you know, when I got divorced, it stung. It hurt. Kids are 5 states away. Man, I beat myself up for about 5 or 6 years. I was out there every other month. We call every day. That was a rule. We got to talk every day. Whether I'm there or not, we're talking every day. They still call me every day. I said, you know, when you're 18, 19, on your own, you know, we'll ease those kinds of, but it became habit, right? Practice makes permanent. The communication lines. So when I got divorced, I moved from Kansas City, Missouri to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm working. I'm flying my ex-wife and children here every other month or whatever. But that was before 9/11, of course. Rates were cheaper. But doing what I felt I had to do. Man, the most difficult thing was seeing those kids' faces when I would leave them. We still cry. I'm a grown man, and and I got a big football player and a 6'6" track player and, you know, baby son, youngest son. They're all tall, and all you see is this, we're crying. Because we love and feel that bond, even though we talk every day still, and every time we see one another, it's the excitement. Yeah, I can't wait to see you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you. And then that, gotta leave you. And man, it was eating me up when I would get home. I'm by myself. And I'm in an empty house. Sometimes the lights would be off because I've spent my last to get out there or buy shoes or pay for whatever it was that was needed. Not sharing as a man, trying to do what I needed to do. Sometimes some things not so good to make ends meet. Sometimes no water. Sometimes no food. I was homeless one time. Didn't tell a soul. Just getting through it. Now, we know the Bible and we know what happens with pride and not asking for help, right? It's a great fall, right? So one day, my ex-wife and a good friend of mine, I call her a sister, they gave me some advice at 2 different points in the same day. My ex-wife said, why are you beating yourself up? I couldn't have asked for a better husband or father for our children. You need to stop, because that will eat you up and they will see it and know, whether you think they do or not. A couple of hours later, I'm still in my own head, of course, because we get in our own way. And I get a call from my god sister, my friend. And I'm like, man, I'm struggling. I don't know why. I'm a terrible dad. I'm not there. And I had my children, excuse me. I had my dad growing up. My dad was my hero Negro. You know, he was my guy. And my kids deserve to have their dad. And she said, boy, you spend more time with your children than some people that live right across the street and your kids live 5 states away. You need to look at what you're doing instead of what you're not doing. And when I changed my perspective, I like the way you said parole your future. Because that's what I had to do. We are our own worst enemies and critics at the same time. And I just came through a very devastating portion of my life. Not the death of my father, not the death of one of my children, yeah. That was deep, that was hurtful, that was impactful. Not being homeless, that wasn't it. But a spirit was so heavy over me the last 6 months. Something I've never, ever experienced before in my life. And I couldn't figure out why. I called people to apologize, Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. For if we do not forgive those, he will not forgive us, right? And so I'm going through all of this, and my brother was like, you know, pray over your house and anoint the room, and I'm trying to do everything. I'm fasting. I'm prostrate. I'm everything. Oh, my God, I'm just out of my head. And it was nuts because I didn't know what was going on. Is it my job? Did I buy something and bring it in my house? It's a spiritual thing because we war not against flesh and blood, right? I don't want to get too deep with that, but I couldn't touch it. It was something that wasn't tangible, but it was new to me. And I was overcome by fear. At night, I couldn't sleep. Didn't sleep. The doctor actually put me on antidepressant meds. I'm not ashamed to say it because a lot of us, we fight some illnesses as African Americans, and we think that it's a bad thing to get help, medical help or whatever. And I'm fighting this now. I'm like, man, what in the world is going on with me? So I'm taking the meds, and I'm like, I got to get through this. I don't need these meds. What is it that I'm going to do? And I started talking to people. Now, I was always that guy that would open up people. Hey, you got the word. I know you got it. Man, give me some good word. You always see the silver lining. Coming to me for the advice and the direction and the guidance. At this time, it was my turn to receive it. Now, was I a hypocrite for not receiving it? That's what I was wrestling with. Because I'm doing good just telling people, oh, you got to fight on. You got to put on the whole armor of righteousness and the shield of, and, you know, anything that they needed to be motivated, whether it was biblical or just straight up good and positive. But I was empty and scared and afraid, and I'm crying. Like, man, what in the world is going on with me? 6 months. And so revelatory intervention came through in me admitting that there was something going on with me that had never happened before and asking for assistance. And every time I asked God to, you know, oh, dear Creator, just show me that you haven't left me by myself and that you're here for me, please. And every day I prayed that prayer, it would manifest through actions and other people, strangers sometimes. I'm like, what in the? You're here. Thank you for that affirmation. That a friend of mine came through and was like, you just tired. You're tired. I've never not seen you working. I've never not seen you taking care of your children. I've never not seen you helping other people and doing something, and you're whooping your own butt. You're at crossroads. Your children are grown now, and they're about gone, and now your priorities are shifting. It's okay to be afraid, but let someone know. And that's when everything just came out. I'm like, wow. And I felt like that proverbial weight was off, not just my shoulders, but my knees, my ankles, my back, my head. And I started to come out of whatever it is that I was feeling.
Wow.
What you think, not to cut you off?
Sure.
I know they have a lot of kids that want to play sports, and they can play sports, but what do you feel about the price tag that is on sports right now? And what can we as a community do? What we have done in our church is any kid that's in our church, we're the parents. And that I do not want anybody I know to be out there selling no water bottles so you can play football. That if your parents are pouring into this ministry, then we will pour back out into your children. And if they play ball, we'll pay for that.
Sure.
If they play baseball. So what kind of other avenues you think that we need? Because some parents, they want their kid to play, but I can't afford it.
Quickly, because it's time for the next interview, but go ahead.
Sure. There are a number of ways. I think it does start with community again. I think our churches are responsible for a lot. They're the biggest organizations in our so-called black communities nowadays. And don't push a child to do something that they don't want to. We can want for them, but they got to want it also. And don't let somebody on TV be their hero. You be the hero. You be the hero. Let me be the hero, without even referring to ourselves as such. The roads for most professional athletes vary. And the percentages of these athletes that you see in major professional sports look like us. And they give you these stories. They pull out the stories of the toughest kids from the toughest neighborhoods, and they always show the kids that didn't have a father. You know, I like Lonzo Ball, his father. LeVar Ball.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing things his own way, non-traditional, and he has a right to do that. Whether you like his, brash, verbose, he's bucking the so-called traditional system. That guy is doing things differently. And there are plenty of athletes who have both parents that look like us. So when we start to perpetuate the positive stereotypes of these people, of these children, of these athletes, that's the way that you can have that avenue. You don't feel like playing ball? We still do need a water boy, a water girl, a towel boy. Everybody's not going to be able to get to that level. Oh, yeah. We need people that understand the nuances of the game. The way you practice is the way you play, and the way you play is the way that you live your life. I've always equated that to athletics, and that's how you live. If you soft in life, you soft on the court. If you hard on the court, you hard in life. But there's a delicate balance to that. Just because you can buck up to somebody doesn't make you a man or a woman. But seeing temperance, and saying, you know what? I love LeBron James is one of my favorite players ever, regardless, because this guy has never done anything negative. Nobody can say anything negative about him except, oh, well, he can't hit the big shot. If that's what their problem with him is, because he's never abused his children, his wife, he's been with the same woman, setting a great example, making millions and millions of dollars, doing things in his community. If the only thing that we've got to say about him is that he missed a shot, bravo, because we all miss shots, and he's not afraid to take it. So show him the positive and reinforce those positive things.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring in our next guest, and then we want you to come back at the end of the show and round it out together. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll be right back here on the Living Like a Boss show. Plus, one of our other boss men is in the building. Michael Supreme will be with us when we return.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hello, it's your girl, Regina Sunshine, with the Living Like a Boss Men show, where we discuss business, occupation, service, and significance, giving our men a place to have a barbershop conversation with a purpose. Hello, it's your girl, Regina Sunshine, and they call me the Affirmation Queen. Why am I called the Affirmation Queen? Because I'm a big believer that if you change the way you speak, you'll change the way you think, and you'll change the circumstances in your life. So start today speaking words of life over you and your circumstances, and see if everything doesn't begin to line up with those things that you are speaking. And I want to leave you with these parting thoughts. Remember this: God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life. And take with you my personal motto. I always say it's not over till I win. If I hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over. So I tell you today, it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, baby, that just means it's not over. Be blessed and keep winning.
This your girl, Queen of Spoken Word, West Side Certified, Miss Tamika Harper, a.k.a. Georgia Me, and I'm always rocking with my people at Instinct Radio. Follow your instinct.
All right, you guys, you're back live on the air. Regina Sunshine and the Boss Men here on the Living Like a Boss show. We've been joined by our good brother, Mr. Michael Supreme, our boss ambassador. And before we start our next interview, What's going on at the Y?
Man,
you got 10,000 things going on. Tell us what's
going on.
Man,
I'm uber excited about everything that's going over there, over at the Y. We actually just launched the campaign at the top of last month, top of the year pretty much, in which we're raising over 1,000 comforters for the homeless. And so it's called ATL Warming Winter Challenge. And so that's been going phenomenal. We're actually about to, we had a store in Saks Fifth lean in, Home Depot corporate lean in, Rent, apartmentfinder.com lean in, you know, and they're actually putting boxes inside their corporate facilities to help us raise these comforters. And so that's phenomenal. You know, we're still working on getting the youth program together up there and making sure that we plug as many influential people as we can in with solid programs and solid content for the kids in that community. And it's just exciting, man. It's just exciting. We got the new board up and running, getting ready. In March, we opened up the board for the service side of things, you know. So just looking at the ball rolling in 2018 and seeing phenomenal things already take place is exciting.
Well, I said this off air, and I will say it live on air. Our next guest was introduced to me by a young lady named Helena Smith, and we were just talking about projects in the community and things we were involved in, and I was telling her about the Boss Builders program, and I said the name Michael Supreme. She said, hold up, who is this Michael Supreme? She said, people keep telling me I need to meet Michael Supreme. I'm not joking, brother. That's what she said.
I need to find that Michael Supreme you talking about.
So they're hearing about the things that you're doing in the community, whether you know it or not. Like I said, people are watching. The word is spreading about the good work that you're doing.
That's the beautiful piece about the situation, because people have to understand really crystal clear that we're meant to be instruments used by God, right? And so when people say stuff like that, it's exciting because it's like people are seeing the work that God is using me to do, you know? And then once he gives me the platform to be able to tell my story of all the different things I'm going through, it's that opportunity to say, okay, cool, I'm literally a trophy for God. And people are able to see, okay, the only way that he's able to do all of these things and the only reason he's doing all of these things is because of the things that God allowed him to go through in life and the passion and hunger and drive and desire that God put in me to birth into the world, which hopefully inspire some minds to live a life based off of God's principles, you know?
Always.
So that'll be exciting.
That's what's up. Well, I begun the introduction. Like I said, I was talking to Miss Helena Smith, and we were talking about boss builders, and she said, hold up. There is a guy I think needs to be a boss builder. You need to meet him. You need to talk to him. And so before I could reach out to you, he emailed me, which I thought was pretty good. And I was like, you know, she gave me his name. I said, okay, I'll look into it. But I'm sure she probably went straight to you. And she was like, I need you to come. I don't know what she said to you, but you did not hesitate to reach out to me.
Basically, she just told me, she told you about me. She told me what you do. And I was like, I'm a lion. So I'm always on the hunt, especially when you're an entrepreneur. It's like, I don't wait on people to talk to me. I'm coming to talk to you to see what we need to make happen. Because if I wait on you, a lot of things go on in life, especially because since I deal with a lot of schools, I understand the fact that, like, I could tell you something right now, you could be super interested, but a fight just broke out and you forgot everything we just talked about.
That's exactly right.
So that's why I'm aggressive, because you never know what somebody else has going on in their life. And I can't count my money if it's in your pocket.
I like that. I love it.
I need to put that in my phone. For real.
Well, real quick, tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, got it. So my name is Benjamin Puckett, and I am not a motivational speaker.
Got it.
I am a win strategy speaker. What I do is I go into these schools and I show the students how to win inside and outside of the classroom, how their classroom, what they do in the classroom, and how it connects to real life, how it connects to entrepreneurship, how it connects to going into the corporate office, building relationships, effective communication. Because the problem that we're seeing right now is a lot of students are not really interested in school because they don't understand the connection. And they don't have people, like, there are a lot of great teachers out there. A lot of my friends are really good teachers, but they see them every day. And it's hard for a lot of students to listen to them sometimes because it's like, oh, you're paid to tell me that I'm supposed to be great. You're paid to tell me I'm going to be good. But when you have somebody, especially that looks like them, come in and, like, talks to them on their level and brings them up. Like, because you can't talk over them. You got to talk to them. Like, I'm walking in the classroom like, what's up, big dog? You good? Y'all all right? I'm finna teach y'all how to collect the bag today. And when we start getting to that level, I start raising them up and they start to understand. And they start to connect how, like, math connects to, like, when you how you learn in school connects to how you learn in real life. And how you need to understand how you learn so you can be great. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I know everything that we got outside of school, we haven't learned all of this stuff. Because it's a lot of stuff I learned in corporate that I definitely didn't learn in school, but I understood how I learned in school, so I understood how I can learn in corporate, so I can understand how to win overall. Yeah. So I do that for the youth, and I also train millennials, do millennial professional development, because coming out of college, like I said before, we don't get that stuff. And I had a unique opportunity when I got out of college to be a corporate recruiter. And then my degrees in public relations, I wanted to be a news broadcaster, sports broadcaster. It's funny how life takes you in these circles and puts you in these positions. So, and I just had a unique opportunity to be a corporate recruiter and really learn the hiring process, really see how the gaps between when we come out of college, where are the gaps? Right. Why are we failing? Why is it taking us so long to climb the corporate ladder? Because I have a frat brother right now that when he brought me in and he climbed the corporate ladder, but there were a lot of other people around and they got stuck for like 5 years. So that's why I try to help connect the dots in those two different places.
I love it. I know exactly why she told us to meet now. You know, it's like so obvious. Yeah. Because, you know, one of the things, and I meant to tell you this, one of the kids that was there today, you came to Mays to talk to the kids, asked our director about you. She said, where's Michael Supreme? She said, his talk that day changed my life. Make a difference. Because, like you said, you come into the classroom, you're not the everyday speaker. It's someone to come in and talk to you on your level about things that matter and that make sense in your life. Right. What does it feel like to be in that space when it's happening? And, you know, because it's a beautiful thing, because you're sitting there and you see the light bulbs come on in their eyes as you're talking to them. What does that feel like? Man, like, money can't buy that. Like, when you see the connection and, like, I'll never forget this one time I was still a rookie, you know, as being a professional speaker, and I was talking to this class, and like it was like 5 of them that had just came out of juvie, like they had been in some real trouble. One of them I think had just got a girl pregnant, a lot of stuff, and I was breaking, like I was giving them, I talking about leadership and how to be great and all this other stuff. I can't completely remember, but I know it was in the process of motivation. And he was like, man, the way you broke that down to me, I've never heard it that way before. And it makes sense now on why I shouldn't be running with, I know what I was talking about, your winner circle. Why I shouldn't be running with this crowd, and how if I change who I am, it'll change the people that I attract. And on that day, I was like, man, like I was on that. I was like, I wouldn't even get paid for that. I felt like I just got paid. Like it was one of them. It's one of those. It's fulfillment. Like and in corporate, I used to work in IT. My last opportunity, I was doing the best I was making the most money I had ever made since I had came out of college. And me being in that job every single day still didn't match up to that one moment. So I was like, man, I gotta go. I gotta go. Yeah.
So my question for you, brother, is you're clearly a lion now, right? But you weren't always a lion. So what happened in your life that helped you transition to that point where you identified yourself as a lion and that you had to be this aggressive in order to move forward in this type of world?
So it's funny that you say it, because when in middle school, like elementary school, middle school, it was a huge transition for me. Like in elementary school, I was this kind of pudgy little kid. I was really nice, but I was really shy. And then it was like in elementary school I was Benjamin, and in middle school I transitioned to Puckett. It's almost two different people. But in my homeboys just call me Puckett all the time. But and I saw that if I was gonna be somebody, or what I really wanted out of life, I couldn't let people give it to me. I had to go after it. Like, because I was aggressive, I was good at football, and when I was aggressive on the football field and didn't wait for plays to come to me and I went after it, good things happened to me. And I just started applying that same principle to life, and stuff just started coming out of nowhere.
Man. That's just like the brother was saying before you came up, talking about the way you practice is the way you play, and the way you play is how you live life. Right. Like one of my mentors told me back in the day, how you do anything is how you do everything. Right. And so it's like I would sit back and I would look at I would be the guy that would work out and then halfway work out, right? And then I would say, okay, cool. Let me just test this theory out, and let me see if I'm halfway working out here. Let me see if I'm halfway doing other things.
Right.
And I was able to identify that same concept in every area of my life.
Right.
And so it's like when people really take that time to sit back and say, okay, cool, really, how I do anything is how I do everything.
Right.
So if I desire to be great, I have to be great at everything. I have to be great at the way that I pick this spoon up to put this cereal in my
Right.
mouth. Like whatever the simplest thing, I got to be great at the way I wipe my butt.
Right.
Whatever it is,
Right.
I have to be great at it.
It's so funny that you say that, because when he said that, I thought about like when I used to play basketball, because I used to be the hustle player.
Yeah.
Like I used to be like, that's how I started, because I was rebounding.
Yeah.
I was playing defense. I'm blocking shots. I scored some points. I'm still gonna give me a 10, 15. You know, get in there.
Right.
But I'm still gonna get 20 rebounds.
Right,
I'm
right.
defending the hardest big man they got, or whoever the person is. And I realized that being a hustle player is almost like the same way I run my business. Like, I make so many calls a day. I'm willing to go to so many different places. Like, one time, a school, they wanted to pay me to speak in the morning to like 1,500 kids. I said, hold on, no. Let's break that down. Like, you can still pay me the same rate, but let's break this down, because I need impact. And that's part of the hustle. That's part of being a hustle player, because most people are like, no, I need to get paid for all three of these.
Right.
But because I'm a hustler, I'm trying to add value. I'm like, no, let's just break this down. I got all this energy. Let me go ahead and use it, and let me bestow all this on these kids right now.
And
so
I could tell for you, it's not about the money. It's about the impact. Like TDJ said, like fame comes with impact. Like the more impact you create, the bigger the fame will be.
Right.
And so when you make that statement about the school wanting to pay you to sit in front of 1,500 kids, like anybody would jump and get excited. Man, I'm about to be in front of 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 kids. It's going to look good on my Instagram, social media, going to go crazy. But that simple shift, give me 30 kids. Give me 60 kids. Let me be face-to-face with that small group.
Right.
That's where that impact really happens.
Right.
Man. That's exciting.
Yeah, and it's funny because the more I did it, the more I realized I like the smaller groups better because I saw impact. Because I don't, like, it's something about this Instagram fame, the social media fame that everybody's in love with. And I see why I want to be, we all want to be famous, Instagram famous, because money comes with that.
Oh, yeah.
But like TDJ said, he said, when you have impact, like if I can get in a room of 30, 60 kids, and like we in there 2 hours, like, and I see them engaged, and it's like it's like, okay, so for instance, I always got it. For instance, I went to this one middle school. I won't say their name just because the way that everything first started. I went there one day, and they wanted me to speak to the whole 8th grade class. I went in there, spoke to them. It was one of the worst experiences I had ever had. Like. I had just did like 10 gigs before. Everything went perfect. Kids was quiet, I was in there doing my thing, and for some reason, this crowd was not feeling me.
Right.
But I noticed that it was a bunch of African American young males that were not paying attention, talking, because all the girls was like, "Shh, be quiet, I'm trying to hear," or whatever. So I told that same school, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna come back beginning of the year. I want them 30 boys that was talking through everything I said. I want your worst 30. I went back there, did a leadership training for that 30. The teacher told me, she said she has never seen that group of students. I ain't talking about the high achieving students. I ain't talking about the ones that I'm talking about the worst 30. They said that she never seen them be so engaged.
Wow.
Never seen them be so engaged.
Wow.
They walked out the classroom saying the stuff I was telling her. Because I always tell them in those sessions, like, your name, I changed their name. I say, your name is King whatever.
Yeah.
And they walk out shaking people's hands. My name is King whatever. And that's the impact. That's the I'm gonna be around for a long time. Like Gary Vee said, he says, I'm playing the long game. I'm not playing the short game. I'm playing the long game, because I plan on being around for a long time.
No, that's real.
We going into speaking a lot of schools, and we all have great success stories. But how do you deal with when you go into the school, you done poured your heart out, and you come out next year, you see some kids, what happened to so-and-so? Oh, he locked up. What happened to so-and-so? Oh, he on dope. How do you deal with that?
It hurts, but sometimes it's just going to happen. It's life. It's numbers. Like, you can't save everybody. As much as we want to, we can't save everybody. If I'm not holding their hand, if I'm not with them every day, I can't fault myself for things that I can't control. Only thing I can control is I'm giving you these keys right here, and hopefully we work it out to where I can come back on a certain basis to where I'm coming back, I'm still pouring into you. But I could give you I could tell you this book. I could give you this book and be like, this is $1 million book. It's everything you need to be a millionaire is in this book. But until you want to accept the information in this book, it's just $1 million book.
That's it.
We learned too also when trying to pour into these kids is almost have to go 2 generations back to get it going right. Yeah. Because you're pointing into him and he understands it but don't know how to apply it because his father the model he sees is broken, but not broken because of the fact he want to be a broken man, but because his dad was broken.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you dealing with some kids and you see them kind of trying, have you ever had to deal with their parents, their father also to try to help the kid kickstart?
So I haven't had the opportunity to like see the kid's parents, but a lot of times I can see the parents and the kid. Like those kids that are like, it's this one little kid on the internet right now that he's like 4 years old and he talks back to his mom all the time and be like, no mama, no. And everybody thinks it's so cute, but when I see it, I'm like, that's the kid that's gonna be the one that's gonna be talking back to his teachers and getting in trouble.
Right.
So it is a village thing. It's a village thing, and we might spend an hour with them, but they're spending 23 hours in that same, going back to that broken village.
So in the spirit of impact, how do you substitute for not being able to get to the village?
You would substitute by giving them tools. Like if I have a book, I give them the book. If I have, and sometimes it's about how you give them the tools, right? You can't, and this is one thing I had to learn, that I can't give every student 10 tools in an hour. I need to give you 2 tools. I need to break those 2 tools down. I need to give you several examples about how you can apply this in these particular situations. So to make it bite-sized for you, not give you a whole turkey. I'm gonna cut the turkey up. I'm gonna cut the turkey up so you can eat it, so you can get the nutrition from it, right? So that's how you you try to give them the most you can in that way, right? Because you only have so much time, and you can only give them so much, right? So yeah, that's what I try to do.
Okay. How did you find this purpose, this gift? I mean, how did you transition from what you were doing in corporate America and everything to realizing this was the space that you were put here to be in?
Because I really been doing this all my life. Like I didn't understand how to transition the gift into being profitable. That's the biggest thing, is understanding how to take what you're gifted at and turn it into profit. Because it's not about the money, but Sally Mae still need her check. All right? So, and I've always loved helping people. Like, I love seeing problems and being able to fix it. Like, when Barack Obama was getting elected, on campus, because I got super involved in student government and a lot of things on campus. Plus, I was an alpha on campus. We had a lot of impact. We had a lot of rank, but we were impacting the students and giving them things to do, but we weren't educating them on social issues, things of that sort. So I saw a gap. A lot of the students weren't registered in that county to vote. So me, my bros, we got all of the other Greeks together, and we created a voter registration drive, and thinking like 2 days we signed up like 500 people that weren't signed up. So it was a gap. I was partnering with people to bring in politicians from that local area just to talk about the different things, policies, different. Now it wasn't packed out like our parties were, but it was still an opportunity. I still created an opportunity, still created a space to educate, impact the people that were in that community, right? So I've always loved helping people. Always especially youth, because I believe that I understand how to talk to them, and I'm a big kid myself, so and I just like filling those gaps. So that's kind of where it came from.
I love it. It's so obvious. Is it not? Is it tangible?
1000%.
It's very tangible. So talk to us about some of your dreams and goals for the future.
Goals for the future. So I'll start with this year. So this year, last year my goal was to impact 10,000. I went way past that.
Dope.
And I was still working in corporate America, just kind of taking my vacation days, going to schools and doing all this other stuff.
Congrats.
So this year I'm looking to impact 100,000 students and young professionals. But my overall goal is to just build programs for young African American minority males to kind of stop a cycle of average, because there is a space in where like this millennial generation X where things have gotten lost, and especially with social media, because we think things are so easy that we don't understand the process. And the process, I believe, is the biggest gap that we have with this generation. A lot of times it's not the fact that a lot of people say millennials are lazy. We're not lazy. They just don't understand how to embrace the pain of the process.
Right.
They think everything's supposed to be like given
Microwave.
to
Yes.
microwave. We think
Instant.
everything's supposed to
Yes,
be microwave,
yes.
but we don't. A lot of people don't understand it. Took Kevin Hart 10 years to get where he was. It took Steve Harvey didn't get popped until about 38, 42. So that's the gap, and that's the biggest thing I want to do is help us understand the pain of the process and help us push through it and impact millions of young African American and minority males.
Awesome. So tell me, I guess, like the favorite event that you've ever done.
My
favorite event you've ever done. Stop it. Stop it.
It was probably the workshop I did when I was at Champion Thing Middle School, because it was so impactful.
With those 30 boys.
It was so impactful. It was just so impactful, and I just felt the love. Like it's funny when you get in the room with people that don't know you, and you pour into them, and they just like, dang, like he gave me something for real, for real. Yeah. So it was that's probably the most impactful.
Well, you mentioned earlier playing sports. How has your time in sports, how has that impacted how you're able to reach the kids in this generation?
Because I see the process. I had an opportunity to see what it took to be a college athlete, because a lot of people can't even be a college athletes, especially because I took the hardest route you could take. Like I was recruited by a lot of big schools, but I didn't get a scholarship because of the school I came from. So I had to walk, and I wasn't going D2. In my mind, I was real big in my head. I was like, I'm not going D2, D3. Right. I'm big time. If I can't play D1, I just ain't going. So I walked on at Jacksonville State University, took the hardest route to get there, earned my spot on the 52-man roster, traveled, and then I just saw how it went from being the love or passion for the game to where the business came in. Like when I got injured, I seen how things changed, how attitudes changed, how the whole process changed. And I have I know people in the league, so they tell me about like their contracts. Like it's one thing when you hear about it on the news, but when you call when your boy in the group text is like, man, I just got traded from the Falcons to I'm going to Chicago. I gotta be there tomorrow. They just cut my contract. I'm on the practice squad. All this good stuff, and learning how much money they really make, what that really looks like, and not just knowing from the outside, but getting that real inside information on the inside. So yeah, it's different. It's different.
Wow. Well, we're going to take a break. We can bring Clifton back so we can really have this conversation about sports and men in our community and how we can use it to impact. But before we do, tell them how they can reach you on social media.
Boom. So you can reach me on Instagram at BP_inspires. You can go to my website, www.bpinspires.com. Facebook is Benjamin J. Puckett. Don't got Twitter, and Snapchat, don't really use it. So yeah, that's it. Definitely how you can reach me. Oh, and if you want to book me, you can go to BP Inspires. No, B Puckett. I'm sorry, B Puckett, BPUCKETT at bpinspires.com. Email me there.
Awesome. We're going to take a real fast break. When we come back, you guys get ready. We're going to have a real, I think, impactful conversation. You're live with Regina Sunshine and the Boss Man here on Instinct Radio.
All right. The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine, and they call me the Affirmation Queen. Why am I called the Affirmation Queen? Because I'm a big believer that if you change the way you speak, you'll change the way you think, and you'll change the circumstances in your life. So start today speaking words of life over you and your circumstances and see if everything doesn't begin to line up with those things that you are speaking. And I want to leave you with these parting thoughts. Remember this: God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life. And take with you my personal motto. I always say it's not over till I win. If I hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over. So I tell you today, it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, baby, that just means it's not over. Be blessed and keep winning.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
All right, you guys, you're back live on the air with Regina Sunshine and the Boss Men, Michael Supreme and Pastor Aikeem Woodard here on the Living Like a Boss show. And we have our guests back with us, Mr. Clifton Hall and Mr. Benjamin Puckett. And our conversation today is supposed to be, and I say supposed because you know the Holy Spirit takes over in this place, and all kinds of conversations break out. And so we're open always to that.
Right.
What about the impact of sports on our men and our community and how we can use it as a tool to truly reach our young people? All right, but I will let our boss ambassador, Michael Supreme, take the lead.
And so, crazy thing, right? Talking about impact. There was a celebrity game that we did at the YMCA for Christmas, for New Year's, Christmas Eve, right? Mm-hmm. And it was called the Impact Celebrity Game, right? And so with Impact, we decided that what Impact meant was in empowering, and we used the E, so we said empowering more people across communities together, right? That's for us. That's what impact means. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's about life is about living a purpose-driven life. You know, like understanding who you are, where you are, and then getting in a space where I don't even feel like I know that once you get in a space where you live life by the second, right? Like you don't live life based on the past, you don't live life based on the future, but you literally live life in that second, that moment, this thing right here. Mm-hmm. Like for me, that's the only place that God lives for me. And so for me, in that moment and being in that space throughout, learning to be in that space within the past few months has put me in a total different situation altogether. And so my question for everybody that's in the circle right now, even you, Miss Regina, right, as we go around the circle, is when people look at us in our mature forms where we are right now, when we allow God to use us and he steps in and he moves and starts to create different things through us as instruments, it looks like we're just these phenomenal beings that do phenomenal things that can that there's nothing that can stop us, right? But we all know that that's not every day. We all know that that's not 24/7. We all know that that's not every second within the day. And so my question for everybody in this circle right now is, when you have those low points, what do you do to shift your energy to get back into the space where you are that lion again, or where you are that king or that queen again? Like, what do you do to shift that energy immediately?
Can I go?
Go for it.
One of the things I do is I have things written down concerning my purpose and why I'm doing the things that I know God has called me to do, and I go back to why. I go back to what he told me.
Yeah.
In other words, I go back to the creator and say, this is what he told me. This is the reason I'm doing it. And so it's not about me. It's not about this space that I'm in, but there's a bigger call and purpose to everything. So I have to remind myself that what I'm doing is not in my own power. Yeah. Because when I think about it's just me, it feels overwhelming. It feels like I can't. It feels like sometimes the darkness can try to creep in, but then I'm reminded that it's not me, and it's never me alone. And I go back to that space, and I actually read my purpose back to myself. I remind myself of what he said, and I get back in the fellowship with God, and I take that time to really sit and allow him to pour into me, because the creator of everything knows it better than anybody else. He knows what I need. He knows what my heart needs in those moments to pick myself back up. So that's what I have to do. It's always great to have people around you, right? You pat you on the back and say, it's going to be okay. I believe in you and everything. But when it's just you, and the whole world seems like it's coming down around you, you got to have that space where you go back and say, okay, God, remind me of what you said to me. Speak to my heart so I can have the courage to go out again.
Got it. Love it. Love it. What y'all got?
Ooh. Transitioning from when I was speaking earlier, I'm just coming out of one of those places.
Okay.
I never looked at myself as an athlete. It was amazing hearing the way you all worked, right? You look like you have the physical prowess, right? I'm 51. I didn't get this way overnight. Right? I was always undersized. I was always the smallest guy. I jumped center in 9th grade. I started on the varsity in 9th grade after getting cut from the junior varsity team, right? Beautiful man showed me that I could be better than somebody else thought I would be. And I bought into that. I jumped center at 5'7" and led our team in rebounding for 4 years, right? And because I was unselfish, I got the coaches award and that kind of thing, and the sportsmanship award. But I also went to state, right? For being a good rebounder, unselfish, but I was still averaging that triple-double, which I didn't care about numbers. I just wanted to win. I just wanted to win. And so I wanted to go into the weight room. I did get a little bit taller. I did get a little bit bigger. I did get a little bit wiser. I was well-rounded. I played a cello. Imagine a basketball player toting a cello home, going to the track.
Yeah.
And then, everybody's looking at this guy. He's a nerd. Okay, I'll embrace that because I'm versatile enough to be able to be with you just because you don't look like me, and you because we hang in the same crew together and the same walks, which elevated me to be able to do other things in life. And so I always took that because I played professional ball for a while, basketball for a while. And, I know people in the leagues. I was telling a friend of mine yesterday, I'm like, man, it's weird. Seeing my cousin, Larry Nance Jr. is my little cousin, my younger cousin. He's 6'10", so he's not little. But I remember his dad would play ball with us. He was a great basketball player. First man to dunk 2 basketballs in the NBA, right? And I'm like, man, you're looking at family. I'm looking at my kids on TV now like, I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. We have to first give credit to the one that did do it. There's a power that's bigger than us. And then we have to reach in and realize how to harness that power and give it back to others. It may not necessarily be, I'm listening to all of us today, and I'm like, this is why I needed to be here. For such a time as this. Never seen any of you guys before in my life until today. And the things that you have done and said to me, you just fill me up.
That's awesome.
So he gives us what we need, even when we don't realize what we need. And so that's how it's not just about sports for me. It's about relationships. And I'm trying the spirit behind the spirit, which is why I'm like, hey, I'm getting your Facebook. I know how to get in touch with you. And I'll know how to get in touch with, I want to help now. You've just re-energized me. I've just been rejuvenated in my spirit.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome. So what do you brothers have in relationships, or what do you all do to kind of refocus your focus when you get into those low places?
I'll let my brother go last, huh?
Oh, go.
You know me, man. I'm on some fast and hold the microphone in one
Yeah.
You know my past. To go to prison at 15 with a life sentence. I played some sports, but I was one of the fastest in the nation. But my family, due to the fact they were Jehovah's Witnesses, that was work of the devil. So when I would bring a trophy home, I said, Mama, I won. She would say, I don't want to see it. Don't put it in this house because it's work of the devil. That created an anger that it eventually began to roll, and eventually I ended up taking a life and ended up going into prison at 15. And then I began to learn, because you say, where did we go? The rejuvenate self. I knew that I would not survive this place and come out of this place whole until I declared war on myself. Because everything what makes you feel down is not somebody else on the outside. It's that voice on the inside. Because you expect it to go a different way. And so when things don't happen according to your expectation, you feel down. Like my man said, I'm coming in speaking. You expect these people to listen.
Right.
So when they don't listen, you feel a type of way because it is not according to your expectation.
Right.
But when you realize that this is not my expectation, it's according to his expectation.
Exactly.
And then he said, I'm gonna go back and revamp this. I'm gonna go back and call him back again because I have to know that I'm sent here for a purpose. And since my expectation didn't go by this day, I'm gonna go back at another day. So I'm always declaring war on myself. Cause when I get in them down moments, I know if I don't defeat this enemy on the outside, because that's the only way I can give a doorway to the enemy on the outside. If I don't do this one on the inside, if I don't beat him, he will always open the door for people on the outside to hurt me. So that's the one I fight the most. I'm always fighting the most, talking to it the most. Why? Because, you know, you say you live in a second. I feel you on that. But I'm also, this is my motto, this is my last word. You got to see it before you see it.
No, that's real.
You know, if you don't see yourself speaking before 100,000 people, you will never get there.
Never do it.
You got to see it before you see it. And then, because that propels you into you. Because when you get there, so this is deja vu.
Man, I'm excited. I'm excited about what you're saying, because it's like that Michael Jackson. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. You know, like so many people, we live in a world where everything is external. You know, everybody else is to blame and everybody else is the fault for what's going on with me. But when in actuality, like I was just having a conversation with my mother about this the other day. Like I'm sitting there talking to her, and she started listening to Lisa Nichols, right? And so she got in the car, she put the audio in, and the next day I said, Mom, I'm so excited that you just started listening to Lisa Nichols and then not watching TV as much. And then the day after that, she came back and said, I just want to let you know that you kind of hurt my feelings when you said that. I was like, what you mean? She's like, she knows I don't watch TV at all, period, because of the subliminal messages and all this other stuff. And she's like, I watch TV for a specific reason. And I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, Mom, all I was saying was that if you were a car and you were driving down a road, you just met a four-way stop. And at this four-way stop, by you injecting Lisa Nichols in your life, it was giving you an opportunity to be subjected to a different type of reality. You know, to have a different type of story come into your inside to help you go into a different place. And then she started explaining to me why she watched all these shows. And she started talking about Empire, right? And Empire is a phenomenal show. Like when I did, the few times I did watch TV, it was Empire for every now and then. And it's a dope show. But then she started talking about Cookie's character. And she started talking about how Cookie, how Lucius does Cookie wrong. How Cookie's the victim. Like Cookie helped him build this empire, and then he just treated it all out. I said, Mom, do you realize that you watching that TV show is feeding that weakness inside of you? It's giving you something that validates whatever that brokenness is in you. But when you listen to this different situation, it gives you a different outlook on that. Like, what if the TV would have told you that Cookie's problems were internal? Had nothing to do with Lucius, had nothing to do with anybody else but her, right? And they showed Cookie healing herself from the inside versus getting beat up from the outside. Every single person that tunes in, those millions of people that tune in to watch that show, women would be like, oh, wait, that's who I am? It'll be a total different type of situation. Guys would be like, oh, wait, that's what women are? This is who I am? A total different situation. But they don't show you that for a specific reason. For a specific reason, because they want the world to stay external. They want people to feel like it's my brother's fault, it's my sister's fault that I am the way that I am. Instead of saying I am who I am because I say that I am. Right? And at any given moment, at any given time, I can shift anything that's going on in my life. And I'm gonna pass the mic.
No, I got you. Oh, hey, you
own it. It's like I had this epiphany, right? And people have these things that come to them in different places. Some folks sit on the toilet, some folks get out the shower, like whatever it is, they come in different places. I'm in the shower one day, and the idea dropped in my head, and it said, what if when you close your eyes, that's reality, and when you open your eyes, this is the dream? What if when you close your eyes, that's reality, and when you open your eyes, this is the dream? Like my uncle once told me, truth is the one thing that never changes.
That's right.
If I could speak to my life in this moment and it shift, is that for real? Or is that a fairy tale? If I can call what I want into existence in this moment and it shift completely, is that for real or is it a fairy tale? Look, y'all, my car broke down. My car broke down last Tuesday. I'm driving down the street to get my mom, and this is living in a second, man. I'm driving down the street to get my mom from the hairdresser. The car broke down 1 minute away from my mom. I got in a space where I'm talking to God in the car, I'm excited, and I'm like, man, listen, it's time to reinvent myself. And I said, how are we gonna start? How are we gonna start, God? What are we gonna do? We're gonna start with the car. I said, you know what? No, we not, because I gotta get up this amount of money to get the car. So for me, it's gonna be easy. We're gonna start with the wardrobe, then we're gonna get the car, then we're gonna go and get the house. And that's gonna be it. And he said, I said, I'm excited, I'm ready, let's do this. As soon as I said, I'm excited, I'm ready, let's do this, the car broke just like that. The catalytic converter popped from the bottom, exploded the timing belt, and the thing that holds the timing belt to the engine out messed up the whole entire engine. And I said, okay, cool. we're living in the second, right?
Come on, Jonah. Come on, Jonah. Come on, Jonah.
I'm like, okay, cool.
I ain't going to Nineveh. I'm gonna do this my way.
Here we go. So I'm not gonna get stressed out. I'm not gonna get frustrated about anything because everything happens for a strategic and intentional reason. So I said, okay, God, like we're living in the second. There's a few things that I have to do. First thing I have to make sure that I find a way to get my mother from the hairdresser to where the car is. That's number one. Number two, I have to find a way to get this car out of the street. Number three, I have to figure out how we're going to get to a different location from here. And number four, I have to figure out how I'm going to get this car towed, right? I called my mom, Uber at Peace, and I'm like, hey, Mom, this is what just happened. She said, how far are you away? I said, a minute away driving. She's like, I had no problem walking to you. Problem solved. On to the next. I called a few mechanics that I knew, told them what happened. All of them told me the car was done. And I'm like, all right, bet. So the car's done, that's that. And I knew I had a meeting that I had to go to connect the dots with some people. And I called his mama, Mako and Daya's mom. And I'm like, hey, listen, I just want to let you know that you're going to have to go to this meeting by yourself. And you can call me on the phone and I'll connect the dots that way. And then you'll be phenomenal. You'll do good. The car just broke down. She said, where you at? I said, I'm over here. It was 15 minutes from where she is. She's like, okay, I'm pulling up. She pulls up, right? And I'm like, problem solved. Now this is how we're getting to our next destination. And this is God doing some crazy stuff. Like, this is how I'm getting to my next destination. Okay, cool. Next issue, find out how to get this car towed. But I don't got AAA. My mama don't got AAA. Called my auntie, she got AAA, so we AAA the situation. But Crystal pulls up, and we're sitting there having this conversation about what happened. And then Mako pulls up with a second car. And Crystal starts laughing. And I'm like, what you laughing at? That's your new car. That's your new car. And so it's like, that's like when people live in the second and they allow God to do anything and everything that they want, and they trust that still small voice on the inside, and they make a decision that everything that happens in their life is happening for them. You know, like it's not external, it's internal, and you can get excited about even the broken small places. Man, those are the moments where God's able to come and step in and do the phenomenal things. Like he told me, car first. I said no. He said, you know what, let me show you who I am. Let me show you who I am. You know?
I don't open doors, I close them too.
Trying to tell.
Yeah, everybody open the door, God, no, I'll close them too now.
For real. And then turn right back around and open a new one.
Yeah.
Right back around and open a new one. And what that told me was, you always go around and you say, all right, God, like, I know that I got to let go of some things to make space for new things. But what that told me in that moment was 100%. Like, listen, there were things that you're holding on to in your life. There are things that you're embracing that you feel like you need to have in your life that you need to let go. And what's happened all of 2017 and what's been happening partially at the top of 2018 with a lot of people is there's been a lot of shedding of people, shedding the situations, shedding the processes, shedding the programs. And what God is saying is, listen, I've told you for years to let that stuff go. If he ain't let that car go, I probably would have rode that thing for 2-3 years. For real. Yeah. He said, I told you to let this stuff go, but I need you in this season to do a dynamic work for me. And you can't do that dynamic work for me holding this baggage. And because you're not going to let it go, let me let it go for you. And we as humans in this world, instead of spiritual beings living in this world, we as humans in this world, we start to feel the emotion of every single thing that's happening. And all it is God saying, dude, chill out, man. Let me take that away from you so I can bless you with something bigger. Relax. It's all good. And so that's me. Go for it.
Before I get into what I'm about to say, I really like what you said because I don't know if everybody else heard this. But when that happened, you problem solved.
Yeah.
You didn't panic.
Yeah.
People, usually in situations like that, because I used to do it. Oh, God, what's the, oh my, the world's crashing.
Yeah.
But you're just like, okay, hold on. Okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You problem solve and you fixed it.
Yeah.
And I also believe that, I love what T.D. Jakes said. He said that a lot of times we pray for God to make a chair, but God doesn't make chairs.
You read the book Soar.
I didn't read the book.
Oh, you better get the book, boy.
I'm about to. He was like, we pray for things God doesn't do.
Yeah.
The reason why God gave us a brain is because we need to think ourselves out of certain things instead of just keep asking. Because if He continues to give us certain things, we'll never build up the skills to progress and be successful.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But that's just what I don't know if I love when I hear people problem solve. It's something about problem solving.
That's dope.
But
he was definitely IT.
Yeah. And plus, when you said that, like, sometimes we talk to God and ask Him for certain things, and it's almost like sometimes we're negotiating with God, but He don't really negotiate.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I remember I remember I was working my job, and I seen it was. One thing about me, I never remember dreams.
Right.
But I remember the dream of me speaking in front of thousands of people, and I was wrestling with it. I didn't know how it was gonna happen, but when I seen it, I was like, "This is confirmation."
Right.
Years go by. I'm sitting in IT. At the beginning of 2017, I was like, "I'm gonna pursue this. I'm not gonna not take an opportunity for me to speak for this job." So I told God, I said, "This number I'm gonna get to financially saved up, and I'm gonna make a jump."
Yeah.
In the month I said I was gonna make a jump, I had 3 contracts that was about to come through. I had it was August, the beginning of August. I had just hit the savings account number, and I was like, "Am I really gonna jump? And I'll never forget. I was like, "He know I'm not." In my mind, I'm like, "He know I'm not gonna jump."
Yeah.
So August 8th at 12:56, I went into my boss's office, and it felt different. Like
Yeah.
I was like, "What's going on, man?" I got let go on that day,
Wow.
but I didn't panic.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm being released for something bigger and better. And it's one thing, and I always talk to my students about having a winner circle, because I call some of my homeboys a text. Actually, I called my best friend. He was like, "Oh, that's what's up." I was like, "What you mean?"
Yeah.
He was like, "You was about to quit anyway. Now you got an opportunity to do what you're supposed to do."
Right.
And I texted all my friends. They was like, "You good? You need something?" I said, "Bro, I just got let go today. I'm not financial." But it's just the people I had around me that were pushing me, like, "Oh, this is a great thing, because you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do anyway."
That's big.
But so when I get in that small place, so I do 3 things in no specific order. Sometimes I'll talk to myself. Like when I made like 20 calls and 19 of them have been no or get off my phone.
Right.
I just start motivating myself. I start talking to myself like I'm talking to other people. Because I can't feed people a meal that I won't eat. So, and I also have...
that was good. A meal I won't eat.
You got a lot of I heard some colloquialism. David,
I can't get the money. I can't count the money sitting in your pocket.
He said, "My money
in your pocket."
And I have certain people that I may call, not because I'm calling to talk about my problem, but I'm calling because they give me a certain energy.
Yes.
Like I have like my best friend or a young lady that's my friend. I'll call her just because when I talk to her, everything that was negative goes away. Sometimes I forget what I was mad about. Or frustrated about, and I'll be like, "You know what? I just got back motivated again. Let me get to work." The last thing I may or may not do in no specific order is I have a video on my phone of my nephew sitting in the tub. Before he can really talk, he's just playing in the water. Because that's part of my why. Because I told him when he was born that I will make the world a better place for you. And since every time I see that video, it's like I can't fail. It's just I can't fail, and I know that I won't fail as long as I give everything I have, because a job will always be there for me. But I know in my heart I'm not supposed to be there, because when I got fired, an hour later another job called me and offered me opportunity. So I was like, I'm not tripping. I can go get that. I'm talented. I'm blessed. So yeah, that's what I do.
Man, like
that was good.
Biggest thing right here with both of you all was that starting with why piece. You know, like so many people do so many things in business and in life based off of how you get it done. How am I going to do this? Or what am I going to do? And they don't really focus on that, why am I doing this? And at the end of the day, like the why is the only thing that matters. The why is the thing that keeps you going. The why is the thing that people connect with. You look at Apple, and Simon Sinek said it. You know, you look at Apple and the way that they sell products versus Dell. You know, when Apple sells products, they sell products based off of the why they're selling the product. It's not about an iPhone. It's not about a tablet. It's not about a laptop. It's about if you have this product, you're part of one of the coolest of the cool. Or it's about if you're part of this product. They did a campaign years ago where they had all of the greats of the greats, the Wright brothers, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, everybody in this whole entire commercial. And it was just a commercial honoring the greats. It had nothing to do with any type of electronics. And at the end of the video, at the end of the commercial, all it had was the Apple logo, and that was it. And what that meant was simply, if you have an Apple, if Martin Luther King was still alive, he would have an Apple product.
So I feel like I failed to answer the question adequately after hearing the profound disbursement of knowledge from this table. God, this is mind blowing. So in my house, I feel like you eavesdropped on a conversation that I had yesterday with several different people. I feel like you all were part of that because I'm hearing it regurgitated. What do? I check the man in the mirror, right? My father always taught me to be an introspective person. Like, what did you do? What part of this? And what we have to find is that balance, right? Of not killing. We're our own biggest critics, right? We can, boy, that self-defecation thing will make you pummel and just a pile of nothingness, right? And in your mind, if you start to believe that, right, that's what you are. If you conceived it, that's what you become. So I talk to myself. I like, yo, wait, time out, check. While I'm talking to myself, I have to realize who myself really is. If you're in him and of him, then you're talking to him, right? Because we are made in his image and likeness, right? And so I know he knows. He already knew what was going to happen before it happened, while it's happening, and what's going to happen afterwards. You just don't know. Right. So you got to, what they tell you, trust the process, right? So one of the things that I have in my house, it says, happiness is a choice. Plain and simple. Waking up every day is a choice. Getting out of bed is a choice. Eating is a choice. Doing something good is a choice. So when I was going through this, and I think I'm still going through it. I'm not sure, but I feel better now. But it's a choice. How long you want to be here? How long you want to stay in this place that you are? I want to come out. I keep telling myself I got to come out. I don't know what to do about it. And guess where he put me? In a place where I can come out and I can see it. And now you can, one of you said it, if you can see it, you got to see it before you see it. Yes. And that's, I see myself, like I told someone yesterday, man, I feel myself again, but I feel different. And they said, you had to go through that so that you can be the testator for the testimony that you're giving to someone else. Yeah. Okay. So like the scriptures say, and even the verses in the New Testament that tell us, you know, God chastens those whom he loves. Somebody said it over here, you got to celebrate when you're going through the difficult times. If you don't, and rejoice in those times, count it all joy, then you're going to keep going through it. Another way to look at it is we're being tested all the time. We're being tested oftentimes. And what happens if you fail a test?
You gotta take it again. Until
you what? Pass. That's all this life is about, right? And so we're being tested constantly. And once you get through what I got out of your example with your mom was her honesty. Her honesty. Man, she said, that hurt my feelings. Yeah. I don't know how many times I've never been able to tell my mother she hurt my feelings. Or my mother to tell me vice versa, because I want to know that. I need to know that. You didn't get self-righteous, nor did she. That's why I said communication earlier. We're not talking. He understands exactly what's going on. You see what I'm saying? That's the example. When they see, they understand, and you're being transparent. Hey, daddy is not perfect. I tell my son right now, my oldest boy, I told him from the smallest up, I said, man, we might not get it right with you because we never had kids before. You are the test. That's real. You gonna look at your little brothers and be like, yo, y'all didn't do me like that. I'm sorry right now. I told him I'm sorry. He'd be like, huh? And he'd be like, now he's 23, and he'd be like, yo, I see what you mean, Pops. I said, man, you take better care of those boys than I could ever. He calls them every day. I mean, they FaceTime. They got to see each other's faces. Hey, how'd you do in your track meet? Hey, you played a good game for the Bears. You know, hey, how's that lacrosse thing come? Like, on the Xbox. You know, I didn't put, you know, daddy got his new headphones for the Xbox. Hey, that's how you can communicate. Right. But it's the spirit. And so when I get to those places, man, my kids are my joy. But I have to also understand that I can create more in different ways of joy. It doesn't have to be in a drug. It doesn't have to be in a woman. It doesn't have to be in a man. It has to come from within me to create those things. It might be you, that video. I lit up when it's like, yeah, you talked about your nephew probably this much, but when you talk about him, you talk about him this much. That's why I told you earlier. You was like, man, I got nothing on. I was like, yes, you do. You remember that? Yeah. You got more. Look at him. Say nephew to him. And that's where our joy comes. We find those things in ourselves to lift us up. He's already given us the tools. The reason why I use the Jonah analogy when it's funny because I'd be like, man, you can't talk to God. You can't, God, you can't tell God what you're going to do. But Jonah was a great example of you can tell God what you're going to do. He's going to win every single time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? And that's why we're called children. And he's called father or mother or uncle or aunt or whatever way he manifests himself. Because God is a spirit. And in him there is no darkness, right? And so when he manifests, or when God manifests, the creator manifests in every different way that he can, then that's when you're getting fed what you need. You just need to have those eyes and heart and ears open, not dull and closed, to be able to receive what he's filling you up with. I'm sorry, I mean to go ahead.
We got to start to close out now.
Yes,
This has been such an awesome show. Go ahead.
One more thing to close out, like just a challenge for everybody here. Like I was talking to a little man over there the other day, and he was telling me about something that he did 2 days ago. And I was like, bro, that was so long ago, and like because I'm literally living my life by the second now. And when I sat back and started calculating, doing the math on a lot of different things, it's literally 86,400 seconds in a day. And so for me, those are 86,400 golden opportunities for you to shift and change your life in any direction that you choose to. And so my challenge for everybody that's in this circle right now, and everybody that's watching, tuning in, plugging in, listening in any shape, way, form, or fashion, is to make a decision to understand that each second is a new year. Each second is a new life. Each second is a new opportunity for you to become a better you. So if you were down and out a second ago, this is a new second. And you can own it and make it something different just like that. If you were uber excited but you choose to go to another level in that second, in this second you could do that just like that. So take ownership of your seconds. Take ownership of the time, because the time is that one thing that we will never, ever get back. I give you money, I can get it back. I can give you access to resources I have, and they're going to come back because y'all going to do good with the resources I give you, right? And they're going to come back 100-fold. But if I give you my time, I won't get it back. If you give me your time, you won't get it back. So be cognitive of how you're spending it.
That's beautiful. Well, I want all of our guests and our boss men, as we close out, remind our audience how they can follow you on social media. And if you had one parting thought, something that's just on your heart that you want to say before you go, 30 seconds or less. We'll start with Clifton.
I'm on social media under my real name, Clifton
Oh, you're
Hall.
so funny.
I don't do a lot of Facebook because my kids tell me that's old and they don't use it. But Instagram and none of that. But it's Clifton Hall on Facebook, and I look just like the picture you put up. I don't have any secrets to that. Parting words is I thank the Creator for this opportunity. There have been some profound lessons that I've taken from each of you, and I look forward to listening to this again. I'm full, and I got to go back to work. I'm full.
Thank you.
Instagram BP_inspires to for any bookings is B Puckett at bpinspires.com. Facebook Benjamin J Puckett. And the parting words, man, is the biggest thing I get is speaking to me is trust the process. Like the process is what's going to build you up, because most of our life is the process. Winning is only 10%. It's only 10%. The process is the 90%, and that's where you. And I love the fact that y'all said find joy in the process, because you got. I tell people all the time, you either win or learn, because losing just is not an option. So let it process.
Awesome.
I'm over here giant. You might go to somebody else.
I got you, bro. Aikeem Woodard, City Reach Church Lithonia. You can find us at www.lithonia.cityreachchurch.org. Our motto is to reach the one that's far from God. Come as you see, come as you are. You won't just come, and you'll see what time it is. My part, you find me on Facebook, Aikeem Woodard, or City Reach Church, Lithonia. Part and motto I've been teaching on this, that in the beginning in Genesis, Satan was a snake, but in Revelation he was a dragon. So, and some people are trying to defeat their dragons with snake mentalities. So stop trying to beat a bush for snakes when you got a dragon in your life, and stop feeding your snakes of your guilt, your sorrow, people telling that you can't do anything, you're putting down yourself. That's just feeding your snake in your life. And if you keep feeding it, it will eventually become a dragon, and you cannot defeat a dragon beating a bush. So stop feeding your snakes.
That's deep.
Ooh, that's
Yo.
so good. That's so good.
That was huge.
That was so good.
That was huge. Man.
Glad I went first.
Nah, for real. Nah, for real. So you all, everybody can find me on Instagram at CEO Michael Supreme. Again, that's at CEO Michael Supreme on Instagram. And my parting words is just love yourself, like in every shape, way, form, or fashion. Understand that you come before all things, and if you can't truly love someone else until you love you. You can't really embrace somebody else until you embrace yourself, and you can't really know anybody or anything until you know who you are, whose you are. And that's it.
Before you go, Regina, make sure y'all get this book, Regina Sunshine, State of Mind.
True.
Make sure y'all get this book. This is my girl doing her thing. Regina Sunshine, finna change the word. Say Regina Sunshine, State is a place where you're going to be at. Of is the essence of, and mind is where you think. So
True.
Regina Sunshine put you in a place. She gonna put you in a place. She going to put you in a place where you think better.
That's it.
I love you guys. People always ask me, how do you find such amazing men? I said, they find me.
Spirit.
And I'm so blessed to know all of you. To the men that are listening, to the men here, I remind you of our boss mandate. It comes from Joshua 1:6-9. It says, be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go.
Say it again.
Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful.
Yes.
Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And that from the beginning has been the mandate for our men, because in order for us to save our families, to save our communities, we need our men to be strong and courageous and to lead us out of these dark places. And I thank you guys for being the men that you are. I leave you again with our boss confessions. You are a champion. You were born to win.
Come on.
You are more than a conqueror. You will achieve your dreams. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You are a magnificent, beautiful, amazing man, and you are worthy of the best things in life. Make sure you guys tune in next month, same time, same place. Every first Monday, we are right here talking to our men with what my son calls barbershop conversation with a purpose, bringing men together, not only to just have a conversation on air, but to be able to connect off air so that we can go out into our communities and do a greater work. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Be blessed. Keep winning and keep living like a boss.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.